When I tell people in my life now that I used to be a chronic people pleaser, nobody believes me. Probably because they cannot imagine me being that person. But what they are seeing is the transformed version of me and not that person anymore. That's why they can't imagine me being one. But the thing is, if you are born to someone who is a chronic people pleaser themselves, I promise you, you kind of adopt that identity too. If I had a nickel for every time my mom said, what will people say? Or you shouldn't do that because people will talk, I'd be a billionaire. I'm telling you, because even today, I was on a call with her earlier and we were talking about something and she brought that up again. She told me about how when I come to her place I need to dress better because she doesn't want people talking. That's a different conversation for another day. I don't dress bad when I'm with her, but she feels like I can do better. I have to pepper people, and that's not who I am. Because I've gone through the transformation, I'm going to be a darling and teach you through 5 steps on how to also get out of this people pleasing phase. But before I get into it, here are some of the mindsets that actually keeps you trapped in people pleasing, especially if you are trying to stop. Number one, the fear of rejection. As human beings, we want to be liked. We want to belong to a group. We want to know that people are our people. But the truth is, you fearing that when you say no, people are not going to like you anymore. Think about it this way: the person they are in love with now, it's not even you. You are putting on a performance for them, and they are in love with the performance version of you and not the real you. So, would you rather someone show you that they don't like the authentic version of you, or have someone pretending to love you when in fact who they love is the version of you who always says yes to them? Number two, fear of conflict. This one pisses me off a little bit because I used to be that person. This used to be me, the kind of person who would say, I'm not a confrontational person. I'm sure you've heard someone say that, or you yourself have said that before. And that is such a weird thing to say. I'm not a confrontational person. But who is? Who wants to just confront for the sake of it? We confront people who disrespect us. We confront people who actually make us angry. If you are confronting someone, then there's something wrong. But we convince ourselves that we are the peacemakers, right? That we are the people who keep the peace. We are the people who regulate everything. And we delude ourselves that that is a good thing. When in fact, we keep abandoning ourselves so that other people will like us. We keep keeping the peace when in fact we are starting a war within us. And at the end of the day, we get to a point where we can't even recognize the person looking back at us in the mirror. Because guess what? You have given so much of yourself that there is nothing left for you. What number am I again? I think number three, the guilt. Especially as women, we are told that being selfless is the ultimate thing you can do as a woman. You being everything to everybody else is the best thing you can do with your life. So, is it being a doting wife? You have to do whatever your husband says, a submissive wife, right? And as a mother, you have to dote on your kids. You have to, you know, nurture them, do this, do that. And I'm not taking away from the fact that you need to do certain aspects of these things. I'm not taking away from that. But I'm just saying that if you don't pour into yourself, you will end up depleted. And then what? The people you are trying to actually care for, you won't be able to do that. So at the end of the day, it's a lose lose situation. Number four, the fact that we learn this from a very young age. When you are a child and you are being told that you are the helpful one, you are the obedient child, you are the easy child, you adopt that identity. You actually link that to your worth. You think that when I am being helpful, when I am abandoning myself to fit everybody else, that is when I am worthy. I am worthy when I am being helpful. You make that your entire personality, you make that your entire life, your entire identity. And I'm here to tell you that at the end of the day, you will break. You will break because you can only give so much of yourself before you burn out. It doesn't matter how many years you do it, it will get to a point you will break. The same thing happened to me. My people pleasing tendencies were so bad that at my wedding, there was not one thing that was actually my choice. Every detail, everything about my wedding was somebody else's choice. Up to the things I wore, the styles were chosen by someone else. I didn't choose anything when it came to my wedding. And guess what? I regret that so much. I wasn't even one of those girls who grew up dreaming about their wedding. But it still hurts that nothing on that day, nothing about my wedding reflected me. And of course, it took that and other things after my wedding for me to be like, wait a minute, who am I? Really, who am I? Without the opinions of others, who am I? Because I was so addicted to the validation of others that I abandoned myself completely. What is the point of me doing that? And the thing that broke me was me actually having children of my own. I got to a point where I was like, how can I protect my kids when I can't even protect myself? How can I say no to someone doing something to my kids when I've been saying yes to people hurting me for the longest time? What is the point? Really, what is the point of this? And it took that looking at my baby girl's face. That is my firstborn. When I had my firstborn, looking at her and looking at the vulnerability that she exuded and thinking, this is an amana. This is a trust that Allah has given me. How can I protect her when I can't even protect myself? How? Right? And it took that to break me. And at first, I swear to you, I was so resentful. I was so angry. There was this rage I could feel in my body. And the rage wasn't about anybody else, but the fact that I had let this thing go on for so long that I forgot who I was. And that is what it took for me to start making the transformation. So today, I'm going to give you a 5 step program to actually transform from people pleaser to a boundary queen. The first step is for you to notice the pattern and name it. There is something powerful about naming what you are feeling. There's something so powerful about it because as soon as you say it out loud, it loses its power over you. And I don't think we understand how transformative that is. And also, awareness of any situation is 50% of the work. So, how about this week? You notice 3 times that you say yes when you want to say no, or the times when you over explain yourself because you want to say no. Let me know in the comments what those 3 times were. The second thing is to check your why before saying yes. When someone asks you to do something that you are not sure of, how about you pause for 5 seconds and ask yourself 3 questions? Do I actually want to do this? Two, do I have the energy for this? Do I have the time and energy to pull this off? And three, am I saying yes out of fear or out of love? And if the answer is you are saying it out of fear of anything at all, then the answer should be no. But I also get that when you are starting, it can be difficult because you go back to your old patterns, right? So, how about this week? Your default answer should be I'll think about that and get back to you, or I'll check my schedule and get back to you, or simply let me get back to you on that. That way, it gives you time to think and not impulsively say yes. The third step is to learn how to say no kindly. As I said before, at the beginning of my transformation, because I was enraged by how much I have let disrespect slip away, I wanted to either ghost people or be cold towards them. And that is actually not a way to live, honestly, because that means I am still carrying the bitterness with me. And I wanted to let that go. So here is the formula to be able to say no kindly. You validate, you set the boundary, and you give an alternative if you want. I covered this in depth in another video, which I'll be linking in the description. So, for example, if a family member wants to meet you over the weekend, but you don't have the time for that, or you simply don't want to go, how about you say something along the lines of, "Thank you for inviting me. I'm not available that day. Can we make it next week?" That's it. It's short, it's simple, and it's kind. And there is no over explaining. There's no reason for you to write a whole thesis just to say no. The first step, which is the most difficult part of this all, is for you to get comfortable disappointing people. The truth is, if somebody, right, loves you because you say yes, because you are convenient, that is not love. That is them using you. So, really, do you want people to love you for you, or you want people to love you because you are convenient? And I can tell you that this is the part where a lot of people go back to their previous people pleasing. This is where a lot of people break because we don't realize how big the need for validation is in our lives until we are trying to overcome it. I can tell you for a fact, this is the most difficult part of it because when I started my journey, me having to tell my mom no was the most difficult thing. I will go days thinking about the perfect way to tell her. And the first time, I remember the first time something happened, it wasn't even a big deal like that, but it was a big deal in my head. And that's the thing with anxiety. It makes small issues way bigger than they really are. And you have to catch it in the moment. So, as I was saying, the first time I wanted to say, mildly disagree with my mom on something, I went hours thinking about it, ruminating on it. How do I tell her? How do I decided at the end, let me just tell her straight up. And when I did, guess what? Nothing happened. Nothing happened. Whatever thing I thought was going to happen, I don't even know what I thought was going to happen, but it was way bigger in my head than it was in real life. That initial fear hold people captive. And I'm here to tell you that once you do it in spite of the fear, you'll realize you are made for more than you give yourself credit for. Number five, and the last part of this process, is to start rebuilding self trust. The only reason why you people please is because you are not confident in yourself. You are not confident in your abilities. You are not confident in your decisions. And that has to change because if you don't know who you are, if you are not very solid in who you are, you will fall for what everybody else wants. You'll get to a point where you don't know even what you want. And then what? So you have to rebuild your self trust. And again, I have another video explaining that in depth. But what it basically is for you to start keeping promises to yourself. Little promises, just little ones. You are building evidence in your mind that your word is reliable. That's what you are doing. So if you say you are going to do something, you do it. Something as small as drinking water. If you want to be more hydrated, all you need to do is drink water as soon as you wake up in the morning. That is one promise checked off your list. So start small and build from there and scale up. And I promise you, your self identity will be unshakable. So here is a way to reframe your mindset. Because most people, when they are doing all these things for other people, they delude themselves into thinking they are being kind. And part of it can be kindness. So let me explain to you what is kindness and what is people pleasing. Kindness is you doing what you want to do. And sometimes saying no can be an act of kindness. So kindness doesn't have a phase, right? Kindness doesn't have, you don't have to always say yes to be kind. Sometimes saying no can be an act of kindness. And we have to put that at the back of our minds. When you are being kind, you are doing it from a full heart. You are not feeling depleted. When you are done being kind to somebody, you don't feel remorseful after. You don't feel resentful after. And you don't feel disappointed in yourself after. But when you are people pleasing, you feel all those things. There's a lot of anxiety attached to people pleasing because it's always about a reframe. How would they see me? How would they think? What would they think? All of that. And I can tell you, it is exhausting. It is absolutely exhausting. So today, I want to leave you with this. You are not responsible for everybody's feelings. You are responsible for your own and your goals. Because guess what? When your time and energy belongs to everybody else but yourself, you end up with nothing. You end up with nothing. You can't go after your goals because guess what? Your time doesn't even belong to you. It belongs to everybody else but you. You can't achieve your goals like that. So you have to fill yourself up, you have to fill your cup up so that you can give to other people. And the thing is, when you keep pouring from an empty cup, you end up depleted. And then what? You can't even do the things you want to do for the people that actually matter to you. So this week, I'm going to leave you with an assignment. That thing you've always said yes to when you want to say no. This week, try using the formula I showed you before to say no and see what happens. Just see what happens. As usual, the goal for this channel is to help you live a life that your 8-year-old self would be proud of. Thank you so much for watching. I am honored. My name is Shahida, and I'll see you in my next video, inshallah.